Welcome to Small Business Big Dreams, where every episode is a new journey into the world of entrepreneurs who are daring to dream big. In this corner of the internet, we're going to celebrate the innovation and the perseverance it takes to turn small ventures into booming successes. These small businesses aren't just places to shop, they're actually hubs of creativity and passion, each with its own amazing story. From the mom and pop shops to the innovative startups, we're going to explore it all. You'll meet the faces behind the brands, hear their stories, and maybe even get inspired to start your own venture. Whether you're a longtime local or new in town, come along with me for the ride and let's celebrate the backbone of our communities, one small business at a time. Now let's dream big and spread some love for our local heroes. All right, well, welcome back to another week of Small Business Big Dreams. I'm here today with Rosie Dow of Beauty Beyond Makeup. There we go. I'm going to get it. And I'm excited to talk with you today because I think you're doing a lot of different things and help a lot of different people, and it's really cool. So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah. I think for the record, I want another kind of indirect Jeep club is how we originally met, right?
Yes.
Your husband,
yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So we still have a Jeep.
I don't.
Right.
I still get a lot of beef for that. But
yeah.
I do miss my Jeep for certain reasons, but I love my truck. It's just such a smooth ride. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about you. So Rosie, tell us. So give us the elevator pitch for Beauty Beyond Makeup, and then let's talk about your background and how you got there.
Yeah. So I'm an esthetician, nutritional coach. And so I feel like I'm the go-to person when it comes to skincare and makeup needs. That includes teens, people going through cancer treatments. So all encompassing everybody when it comes to anything to do with skincare. Probably have like too much information in my head that could be useful. Yeah, right? It's very dangerous and sometimes very useful.
So talk to how did you get to this point? Have you been doing it for a long time? How long have you been doing it?
Yeah, so I've been in the beauty industry for 25 plus years. And so I guess I'll just rewind 25 years ago. I started working.
Where you were like 5?
No. I was 18.
So it's the skincare. Okay, got it.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
So 18, I had to be 18 in order to work cosmetics. So I worked at Marshall Fields. Do you remember?
God,
yeah, I know. It's been
for all of you, too young to even know that name anymore.
I know.
Oh
Macy's bought them, and so they took over Macy's stores. But Marshall Fields, I worked for Lancome Cosmetics. That's my foot in the door into cosmetics. Although prior to that, I was always so interested in makeup. Like that was my thing. It wasn't skincare because, 25 plus years ago, skincare was not much of a focus like it is today. And it was all about makeup. And so anyway, going back to that, when I turned 18, I had the opportunity to work for MAC Cosmetics, but I had to wait until I was 18. That was the age limit.
Like they had like an age restriction to
there
work
was,
in there?
Yes, because I was working in the shoe department, and I always found my way to cosmetics, and they said, you should work here. And I said, sure, I would love to, but you have to wait until you were 18. So that was the rule then. I don't know if it's changed since, if that's still the rule in cosmetics. And then once I worked for Lancome, I did have the opportunity to work for MAC Cosmetics. So that's kind of
that one. I know that one.
MAC was the cream of the crop makeup.
Okay.
That's the go-to for makeup, but now it's really changed a lot as far as the brands and the quality of makeup. So there's just a lot more competition out there. But when I started with MAC, I was with them for about 8 years, and I became a associate manager and opened the Deer Park location. So I was at Hawthorne Mall in Vernon Hills, and then I went to Woodfield Mall.
Oh, that beast out in Schaumburg, man.
Oh my gosh.
Back when malls were a thing, I know some of you are pretty young, might not even know a mall,
And Woodfield is still one of the nicer malls around here anyway. And then they wanted to open a location in Deer Park. And so I
Like a standalone store.
Yep, a standalone store.
That's a nice strip mall out there.
It's very nice. It's an outdoor mall concept, like Old Orchard.
Okay.
And I believe Oak Brook is like that as well.
Similar, yeah.
And so opened that store there. And then retail was really starting to burn me out. During this entire time of working for Mac, I was going to school full time. I went to school at DePaul University. And so my undergrad is in management with a focus in human resources. So at one point I stepped aside from Mac to do an internship with, again, Marshall Fields in their HR department at Water Tower Place in the city. And I hated it. It was awful. I was there for 3 months and I thought, oh, maybe I don't want to do HR. It was the training aspect of HR that I was interested in.
Okay.
So I went back to Mac and I managed there. But again, because the retail was really burning me out, I finished my degree at DePaul. And I started looking for corporate jobs. And it was very difficult to find something because I didn't have corporate, quote unquote, experience.
Yeah.
It was, so I had to start on the bottom at a medical supply company. And so I started there. I took a pay cut from working at MAC Cosmetics. But while working there, I continued to do makeup on the weekends because I loved it so much. I would do wedding makeup, and then I freelanced for MAC Cosmetics as well. So I kept my foot in the door when it came to makeup. So that's how I got there.
Okay.
Now, that was one chapter. When I started working for the medical supply company, I had a lot of my customer service skills.
Of course.
From Marshall Fields. It was all about guest service. You know, you never say no to your customer. And that's how I was trained. Now working for the medical supply company, it was a small business owned, or I'm sorry, it was actually a very large private owned company, and it continues to grow. But I was able to bring that customer service, the never saying no, which is what the family appreciated. It's all about customer service to their customers in the business world. And so I thrived there. I got promoted a few times. And then I met my husband, Nick, there.
Very cool.
And
all worth it then?
Yes, it was definitely a stepping stone in the right direction. And after we got married and I was pregnant, I decided to stay home and raise the kids. So I retired.
You retired into a longer, more fulfilling job that's 24/7. Yes.
Yes. So I retired corporate world, and I'll tell you, I learned a lot. It was wonderful, and I met a lot of great people there. I realized, though, makeup definitely was the passion. It was so rewarding. It just fulfilled my soul in a way that corporate did not. And so staying home with the kids, I continued again to freelance with Mac. I had an opportunity with a cancer center in Zion, the American Cancer Center of America, which has now been bought out a couple times. So it's called Hope, City of Hope.
City of Hope. Yeah,
yes,
I think so. Yeah.
in Zion.
Yeah.
So the program, they were looking for a program. I had a friend that worked there at the time. He said, I think my friend Rosie can help. Can you come and meet with them? So I sat down with the director, and his approach was, we want our patients to feel better and come to our spa. And so the birth of my cancer program began. And the program is called Outer Beauty for Inner Peace.
When did you start this?
So this was about 11 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. And a whole nother chapter begins.
Yes.
What was the name of it again?
Outer Beauty for Inner Peace. And the idea behind it is, if you look good on the outside, then you're going to feel good on the inside. So when you're going through cancer treatments, you may lose your hair, eyelashes, eyebrows, your skin changes. There's just a lot of changes going on. And so I would go in and do workshops for these women and teach them the proper way of drawing on an eyebrow so it looks natural, or certain shades of colors that would look nice on them, teaching them the basics of makeup. During that time, I had a lot of the cancer patients ask questions about skincare. And I couldn't answer it for them because I was not an esthetician at this point.
Okay.
So that was my motivation was when I would say to them, I'm not sure. A question would be, can I use retinol during treatments? And I would not know how to answer that. So I would say, you should ask your doctor. And every time they would say they didn't know. We asked, they didn't know, or they referred us to a different doctor. And they're seeing so many doctors and spending so much time and money that they just didn't want to have to go to one more reference.
More energy or more effort. And for listeners like me, what's retinol?
Retinol is a vitamin A, and so it helps shed the skin. It helps with cell turnover.
I'm going to ask you another question too before we keep going. What can you define, other than maybe what seems the obvious difference between like makeup and then like skincare? Like what's the goal, or what's the, like, just for a lot of people like myself, it's like, isn't that kind of one and the same? But it's definitely sounding like it's not.
Yes. I think that's a great question, because when I do talk to my clients about skincare makeup, I like to just start from the basics. And so skincare is, it's products that you're using to wash your face with or rehydrate the skin. So it just keeps your skin balanced. And then makeup is something that you use to help accentuate your features. So it can be eyeshadow or mascara, lip gloss. That would be makeup.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I get it better. So hopefully a few of the others in the same boat as me are in a better place. All right. So you now were having all these patients that you were talking to and working with, and now you have the energy to become an esthetician. Is that how you went down that road?
So then I said to myself, this is what I need to be doing. It fulfilled my soul like nothing has before. It was something so rewarding to me to see these patients coming to the workshop, and they were so defeated. Their confidence was low. And then after the workshop, and the workshop was usually an hour or 2 hours long, they were a different person. They were smiling. They got to know each other. They knew that they were not alone in this battle, and they had that confidence needed now to do this on their own. So I felt like it was very empowering for them and for myself. And I said, when I have the opportunity, when my kids are old enough and in school full time, that was my time to go back to school and do aesthetics. So I wanted to focus on skin, learning more about the skin, because I knew so much about makeup. It was the skin that I needed to learn more about, and then ingredients too, like retinol, and if that would affect skin in a bad way.
And then we go kind of back to that retinol question you had. So that the main idea here is, so that obviously most cancer patients are on a lot of different drugs for different reasons, that if using some of these skincare products would interact inappropriately with some of these drugs they're on. Is that kind of where the vibe was? Okay.
I'll give you an analogy. If someone who's going through chemo or radiation, which is typically the source of treatment for somebody undergoing cancer treatment. So what happens to their skin? Have you ever had like a really bad burn from the sun?
Unfortunately,
and
a couple times.
How does it feel?
Not good. Not at all.
So what's happening to the skin is it's damaged. Now the barrier of the skin is broken. It's dry. It hurts. What you need to make sure you're doing is using very gentle products, something that does not have fragrance or dyes, irritating to the skin. You're doing more occlusive products, which is kind of like a thicker cream, something like a Vaseline that you're putting on the skin to help that skin heal back up again. And so that's what's happening to a lot of the cancer patients going through treatment, is their skin is very raw and they are exposed to a lot of germs. So our skin is the number one defense of our immune system. So you want to make sure that you take care of it. We need the sun. It's great because we need the vitamin D to synthesize into our skin in order to survive. But the time limit is 10 to 15 minutes daily versus anything more than that is just damage to the skin unless
Seriously?
you're protected. Yeah, 100%.
Only 10 to 15 minutes?
Yes. I tell this to, so including my children that think tanning looks healthy. There's a fine line between healthy and then now you're just damaged your skin for long term.
I mean, yeah, because there's been times where, you lay out for hours.
Oh yeah, I did it too.
Like a rotisserie, like time to flip,
Yes, with baby oil.
Oh yeah. Baby oil. And then like, if you go like old school, remember like I've only seen in photos, like the mirrors, like let's really like concentrate the sun. But oh my God. Or people at tanning booths. Like, that's a whole nother.
Oh, I know. I did it because there wasn't as much awareness about it as there is now. So I feel like with the younger generation, they are more aware of the damage, or at least more about skin and skincare. But what I feel like the unfortunate thing that's happening with the younger generation is they're using too much product and they don't need to. It's all about, balance when it comes to the skin. You don't want to use, like somebody who's young doesn't need to use retinol. Somebody who's older should use retinol because, and I'll tell you, and tell me if I'm like talking too much. I mean,
that's the point of this is to talk. Tell us.
Okay. So
inform us, please. Because I'm already groundbreaking with the 10 to 15 minutes thing already. And I'm like, really? Like, come on, man. I like being out in the sun.
I know. And it feels great to be out in the sun again, but like just the protection, sunscreen, wearing sunscreen and making sure that you reapply with every hour.
I've never put on sunscreen ever.
There's a lot of people that don't. And I'll tell you, there will be controversy with people that feel very strongly about sunscreen and then some that feel very strongly against sunscreen. And that I feel like that's a whole nother topic in itself too, because there's two different types of sunscreen, a physical sunscreen and then a chemical sunscreen. And so that's the whole controversy. Okay. My thought process is you should be using a physical sunscreen that's like a zinc, so if you think of lifeguards that have the big white nose, that's zinc. Okay. Or titanium dioxide, that's using a physical product to protect the skin.
It's like it's like wearing something over the skin essentially. Okay.
Or they sell a lot of sun shirts now too, so you can have the sun shirt for protection, or a hat. I mean, hats also give some protection to the sun too. So okay, when it comes to the skin, let's go back. We age from the time we're born, right? And there's no going back, unfortunately.
Yeah, yet.
Yes.
Somebody's going to work on that. They're trying.
I'm hoping. I'm doing my own due diligence to try to learn this for my clients and for myself. And
slow it down.
Yes, you can definitely slow down the aging process. But as far as reversing aging, it's extremely hard to do because we're aging on a cellular level. Okay, so going back to the retinol, it's important to shed the skin as we get older. So anyone in their 30s and older should start thinking about encouraging those cells to renew a little bit faster, and using a retinol product will help shed the skin. And that's on the face and neck. That's where we kind of focus skincare products on.
And is that just because of kind of like, let's call it the selfishness of it? Like that's our face,
the vanity
of it. That's the word I was looking for. The vanity part of it, where essentially in a more scientific perspective, like all the skin would need it, right? Is that kind of how, or is the face a more sensitive or different than maybe I would find on my arms or hands or something
Yes.
like that?
Yep. So all of that is true. The skin on the face is thinner than other parts of our body. The skin around the eyes is the thinnest part of our body. The skin on our palms and our feet, the soles of our feet, are the thickest.
Okay.
So when it comes to using a retinol skincare product, you don't necessarily have to use skincare to get these benefits. You can also do vitamins or just eat nutritious foods. Foods high in vitamin A would be carrots, some kind of like beta carotene is going to help shed the skin from a cellular level again. If you are taking vitamins and supplements, they usually have some kind of vitamin A in a multivitamin. You'll see that. That also will help encourage the skin to shed. So just like a fun fact, we shed on average 9 pounds of dead skin in a year. And so 80% of the dust that's in your home
it's
is dead skin.
And then isn't something like I read somewhere your pillow is like a bunch of that too. Like you should be getting new pillows way more often than you do because it's like dead skin and all this other stuff. And it's like in the oils from your face and all this. It's just,
I encourage people to change their pillowcase, their sheets often, like every week, if possible.
Most people don't do that.
No,
either.
and most people don't. Most people don't do what they should be doing. I think there's so many battles to fight this day and age. I mean, it's like,
we only have so much time too. You know?
Yes. Yes.
And so much money. Like if we actually changed out everything when the manufacturer said to, and like when we should, it's like we'd all be broke and have no time.
There's too much input going on. And I feel like if you're going to fight any battle, the best battle is nutrition. And so, so I'll tell you, kind of going back to me and the path that has led me here is I got my nutritional certification because that was then the next level, right? I felt like after I started practicing aesthetics and seeing clients for skin, one main issue that kept coming up would be acne or rosacea or eczema and how to treat that topically. And honestly, there's only so much you can do topically to disguise the situation, but a lot of times the issue stems from within the system. And so then treating it from within, trying to get to the root cause. And so that is what I do for my clients is now this is all encompassing skincare, makeup, nutrition, because if you have, and going back to the aging effects too, things that you can do to slow down is just eat better, less processed foods, drinking lots of water.
Everybody I know needs to drink. Every one of you listening right now, I know you all need to drink more water.
70% of Americans are dehydrated.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I've gone days where so I like water. I usually drink enough water. And actually I had a hard time when I stopped working in the office drinking water because it was my get up from my desk. Go get more water. Go get more water. Well, then when I came home, there would be days, 3-4 days in a row. And all I realized was I drank coffee till 3-4 o'clock and then cracked a beer or opened a wine. It was like, oh my God, I just haven't had water. And I was like, no wonder I feel like shit, And it's like, hey, excuse me.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to get one in there. And it's just and I see my friends do it or they're like, well, it's got water in it. I'm like, that's not the same.
It's not the same. It's something, right? So if we're going back to picking and choosing the battles, if you're going to, so coffee technically has water in it too.
98% water.
But it's dehydrating to the system. And so because it's a diuretic and so that's why you want to make sure you're drinking enough water. Somebody who's drinking alcohol, you need to then drink that much more water. So rule of thumb is you want to drink half your body weight in ounces.
Oh God.
So
I'm going to just hit the gym so I can drink less water.
For easy math, if you weigh 200 pounds, then you should be drinking 100 ounces of water in a day. That means it is a lot of water. It is a lot of water. And again, like you may drink half of that.
But you have a goal now.
But then you can also get your water content from foods too, like cucumbers and watermelon. Yeah. So there's lettuce. There's a lot of other foods that are high in water content. So you can get the other half that way too.
Very cool. So I know I derailed us again because water is always a hot topic. Always. I have to remind myself sometimes too.
Me too. I have to as well.
I even put like a water thing in my office upstairs just so it's like drink more water. Or I got a huge water jug now, so I have it's like a 64 ounce. So it's like I try to get through 2 of those a day, and it's so much water.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to keep yourself accountable is to have a water bottle that you say to yourself, I'm going to drink 2 of these or 3 of these in a day. That's what I do too.
I've even seen the really big ones where it like kind of has even like time markers on it. Like where you're like 7 a.m., 9 a.m., like, and just make it through the day. Anyway, I derailed us. That one's my fault. So let's get back to you. So you started this, whole thing with the cancer patients. Now when did you go back to become an esthetician?
Yeah. So that was in 2020.
Wait,
so
you started that right?
So I'll tell you, I'm happy I didn't wait because, COVID hit and everything shut down in March.
Yeah.
And so I started in school and I was so particular in how I chose the school for me. And what school was focusing on ingredients, because that was, kind of the whole point of going to aesthetic school. And there was the school that I chose was in Schaumburg. Well, it's not super close to my house. It was a 45-minute drive.
On a good day.
Yes. Which I'll tell you I loved because I love podcasts and I love listening to podcasts. So I was able to listen to several podcasts on my drive. It was great. But it was far.
Yeah.
Then, everything shut down and we had to do everything virtually. So at least I had the 3 months in class and then we were able to go back in June.
Of that same year?
Of that same year, we were able to go back, but we had to wear masks and gloves and everything changed. All the protocols changed. And then I received my license after taking the boards in September of that year. But you can continue, you can start practicing. And that's what I did. I started practicing on friends and family during that time. And it was, I'll tell you though, it wasn't that much of a challenge. I felt like I'm happy I started everything before everything shut down, but it gave me, because life slowed down a little bit, I was able to focus on the business aspect of that. What does this look like? What I'm going to do? I was able to do videos and create content for skincare and makeup and get that out there, which now I just don't have as much time for that in social media, which is probably not a good thing, but good and bad.
If you've listened to my podcast, you'll know how important as a small business social media is. I mean, small or big, essentially. That is the way marketing is going, is social media. It's the biggest bang for your buck. At least let's put it that way. So I think you set me up for a nice segue. So September of 2020, you got your license, passed your board. So like what are the services you do offer? Like if I was like meeting with you as a new client, like obviously I'm assuming there's some kind of consultation first before you kind of like point me in what direction we should work together or not work together. And what does that look like and what do you offer?
Okay. So I offer facials and I feel like that can go in different directions because there's basic facials and then there's more advanced facials. So depending on what you're looking for. So Eric, let's pretend like we are.
I know my skin's rough. Okay. Like be gentle.
So tell me, what are your skin concerns? What would you like to see different?
I actually, and maybe you can actually help me with this. So I have, with the beard, it's really hard for the skin that's under the beard to keep, like, it gets dry very easily and it gets very like itchy very easily. So it's like, if I can find a way to maintain it from not doing that and fighting that constantly, I would love some insight there.
Yeah.
Like
So
actually.
so then, what the advice that I would give is, first I would ask, what are you using? Like, what are your skincare products? What are you doing at home? Because what I do just kind of jumpstarts what you're going to do at home.
Okay.
So 80% of what you're doing at home is going to fix or treat the problem that you may have or the concern that you may have. So depending on what products you're using, if any, there's so many clients that say, I don't even wash my face. Or the biggest thing is they may wear makeup and then they don't wash their face at night. So then they're going and sleeping on their pillowcases and all this stuff is on there. And then they sleep the next day and then they come to me and say, I don't know why I'm breaking out. And then, so that's what I try to do, is try to get to the resolution, like what's happening. And then how can I help? If it's even just giving suggestions of, washing your face at night is going to help keep your pillowcase clean longer. So then it's not going to clog pores. Dryness, so exfoliating is a big factor in it. Because you're not shaving, because you have the beard, you may be trimming and doing like the shaving actually exfoliates the skin. So that just helps get rid of the dead skin. And then you can hydrate after that. So if you're not able to, because you have the beard, to shave and get that exfoliation, then you need to do that manually by using a product, some type of product.
Well, see, there we go. That's the part I'm missing then, because I've tried. You ask my wife. I've got like oils and balms and all kinds of different beard direct stuff, but like it works for a while and then it comes back, and I'm also not consistent. I know that's also my fault. I'm not like every once a week or twice. I'm like, I'll do it and then I won't do it and then I'll do it. But let's talk about. I want to ask this. Are you still doing the stuff with the cancer patients?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. So let me just finish. You had asked what I do and what services I offer in addition to facials.
Yeah.
So that there's like basic there. Then there's advanced, which is chemical peels. So using
that
a
sounds
peel.
Intense.
It can and it doesn't have to be. I think it sounds more intense than it has to be. It's all part of shedding the skin and getting those cells to renew faster by using some kind of acid, and like a lactic acid or glycolic acid, which again seems very scary, but it's all, they're non-harmful chemicals. So it's not like I'm putting, like battery acid on your face. It's acids that are specific for the skin and skin health. So, and then there's microchanneling that I do, which is a similar process to microneedling.
Which is what?
That helps boost collagen. So if like somebody has fine lines or acne scarring, it just helps strengthen the skin. So it brings that collagen back after you've lost it. It helps with preventative purposes too. There's that. Those are some services. And then there's lash tinting and curling and waxing and, all of that falls under aesthetics.
It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Women, you guys, there are also men that do a lot of stuff too, but that's a lot of different things.
So then you had asked about the cancer program.
Yeah.
So I do not do the program with, the cancer hospital in Zion anymore, because once they were bought out, the program, because I would volunteer my time, wasn't generating a revenue, and so they nixed the program there.
How dare they?
I know, so sad. I felt so sad for the patients, but I did reach out to, there's a non-for-profit in Northbrook called the Cancer Wellness Center.
Okay.
And so that's who I've partnered with. I have also, since I've been talking to Northwestern Hospital Systems, they have a non-for-profit cancer program that I plan on instilling the outer beauty for inner peace there.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, if somebody wants to work directly with you, do they have to go through those programs, or can they come to you, like if they're going through cancer, if they're not their treatments not through those hospitals, can they work directly with you?
Yeah, they definitely can. That's a great question. So I feel like through the program, because it's a non-for-profit, they can offer so many other programs too. So they have yoga and everything is free. They call the people participants because it's not a hospital. So they're not patients there, but they are participants. So it is every service there is free for their participants. They even offer free wig fittings, and because wigs can cost up to $3,000 for a wig, and unfortunately insurance doesn't cover any of this stuff. And so they do partner with some people that offer some wigs too.
And what's the name of that program again?
The Cancer Wellness Center, and they're out in Northbrook.
Yeah. So check them out. Maybe you guys, anyone maybe want to make a donation, 2 words, sounds like, you know. Very cool. So what else? What are we missing? You do a lot. I know you do. I know we're missing something.
Other things that I do are workshops too.
Okay.
So I'll do workshops for gut health or workshops on skincare. It can be for corporations, like businesses that are looking to do some team building things. So I'll do workshops with them. It's all about, I want to educate people on how they can navigate this industry themselves and not feel like if they Google something, now they're buying something new and spending all this money, because this industry is
just
booming.
Yeah.
It's a over $300 billion industry, and it continues to grow at like a 20% rate.
That's insane.
So it is insane. And so with that, there's a lot of awareness of what you should and should not be doing with skin, which is good. But then there's also this part that people feel like they should be doing everything possible to look and compete with everybody else. And so I feel like that's almost a new pandemic where we're not aging the same anymore. And so people find that where they're losing their confidence because they're comparing themselves with somebody else. And well, so-and-so's getting other treatments like Botox and, med spa related treatments, lasers and, fillers and all those things that are kind of changing the way somebody may look like, just to fit in with everyone else. And so I feel like that's kind of the sad part of the industry, the direction that's going.
Yeah, I've been, it was actually an interesting one. I was just reading or video. It was more like a combination. Anyway, that these fillers, they actually don't go away. They just like migrate in you, and they're creating like, this is where like your like face starts looking different. And it's because the lip fillers and other things you do, like they're being sold that they actually dissolve away, but they don't. They're just drifting into other parts of your mostly your face, because it's where most people do this, I guess. And it's just like, and there's a lot of side effects happening from that. And it's just like, man, it's like, I have a big thing about putting things that are not natural in my body. And it's just like, but it's so hard to get the good information. Like you can go online and almost anything. Like I can find something that tells me oranges are great to eat, and I can also find something that's really tell me it'll give me cancer too.
Yeah, true. And it depends.
It's so contradicting sometimes,
Yeah.
and it's like, what do you believe anymore?
Yeah.
Too. It's so difficult.
And how do you put in the search engine to where maybe the most reliable source comes up versus a more subjective thing that comes up? And so, because my approach is holistic. It's mind, body, soul. Like it's all encompassing because it's all related to skin and aging. I mean, and so listen, like I'm not going to be somebody who's like, don't do it. Whatever, to each his own, whatever makes you feel good. I know from my research, Botox has been proven safe for many years. It's been used for many years, treated different issues. Like if somebody's super sweaty, they can use Botox for that. And so I know it has helped a lot of people. When it comes to fillers, now the research, again, that I've done with fillers is you have to be careful because it may not dissolve, like you said. Typically, when fillers first came out, it was mostly hyaluronic acid. And so that
we go with more acids.
Yeah. Well, it's all about the skin. So actually, hyaluronic acid is what we have in our body between joints. And it gives us that cushion. We lose that. Same thing with collagen too, as we age. Again, the whole aging concept, it's terrible. So that's why buzz terms, you may see hyaluronic acid everywhere because people are trying to get the bounce back, the jelly in between their joints that's hurting.
Long gone to my knees years ago.
Yeah. So when they're using the filler, they're putting this hyaluronic acid, which is basically like a jelly form of water.
Okay.
In certain areas like the lip or around the eyes or on the cheeks to give you more of that plump look. It's supposed to just dissolve slowly. Mm-hmm. If it is filled with other ingredients, then it can not dissolve like it should naturally.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. We could talk all kinds of acids all day, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah. Just getting started.
So we're going to double back here a little bit about you, right? Or about what your setup. So 2020 went through, did all your licensing, right? Now, did you open up your own shop after that? Or are you just kind of working do you have a home base or an office, or what does that look like?
Yeah. So out of my home, literally, is where I practice. I have a lower level of our house. There's a room in there that I converted to the spa treatment room. And so I have a table in there, my back bar. I have salt lamp in there. I mean,
you can't not have the salt lamp.
No, you can't. It's the whole ambiance.
Of course.
It smells like a spa. And so that's where I practice. And I'll tell you, I started practicing there during COVID. And then my kids were home from school because everything shut down. And so it was the perfect setup. I can be home with the kids and I can still do what I love doing. Mm-hmm. So everyone asks me, there's a couple places I have gone to, a salon in Lindenhurst and then a spa in Libertyville. And I practiced there as well. And I loved it. I loved getting out of the house, but I can't, as we've talked, all of these things under my belt, I can't do it all and do it somewhere else.
You can't be in 5 places at once?
No, I need to focus on the bigger picture. And so I'm staying in the location in my house. And then again, I've had people ask, well, do you want your own space? Do you want to, rent space? And I feel like it's just too risky. And I've interviewed my clients and I've asked them and sent reviews asking them, would you prefer to have a different space? And they said, no, we love it here. It feels like a spa. They feel comfortable. So I'm going to keep it there for now.
Well, and I also think too, these are things as a business let's talk from a more business perspective. If you, let's say, go to your own spot, now you have way more overhead, and then it changes your motivation of what am I here to do and how am I doing it? Because now you have way more, revenue you need to do because you have to, cover these different bills you now have that you didn't have before. Or, you have to maybe you just start talking about a little bit more product because now I need to sell some more stuff. And then what it does, it challenges or changes maybe your motivations. Mm-hmm. And not that it would, but it could potentially impact that.
No, you're right. You're right. You hit the nail on the head. It really, truly, the focus would start to deviate from why I wanted to do this in the first place. If now I need to start paying rent somewhere and things got real. Luckily, because we have a dual income in the home, I can focus on those that truly need help. And I could be completely honest with people because I'm not in it for the money. And
to a degree.
Well, I mean, I have to pay bills,
right?
But anything on top of that, I'd rather volunteer my time to help. I mean, I've gone to middle schools to talk to kids there, and all free. Like, all these things are free. The cancer center, free. It's a lot of the money that I do make actually goes towards the cancer program.
That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think I love devil's advocate questions. I'm the king of it. Ask everybody. Do you think so you have a client base now, and obviously they've come to your house and done that. Do you think there are people who, once they've found out it's at your house, are like, you've lost potential clients or?
That is a possibility. I have thought of that, but then I also think to myself, I am one person, and maybe that clientele's not for me. It's not meant to be if they're looking for something else, and maybe something that is that they're looking to go to a bigger place. With maybe even more availability. I feel like I'm very available. My hours, I work from Monday through Friday, and mornings to evenings. So I'm very flexible. I'm usually able to see a client within 2 weeks. And so there's not much of a long lead time, but.
And you went right. You knew what my next question is. Like, well, then when are you there? What are your hours? It's like, and is this something, it's like, there's no I wouldn't say call it a walk-in because it's like, but obviously it's like, so there's 2 week out type of appointment system,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Appointment based only. You can reach out to me, either through email or text message. And so, if I meet somebody for the first time at a farmer's market or an art festival, and they get my card and they feel more comfortable sending me a text or calling me, I'm open to that. Or if they would prefer to just make their appointment anytime, it could be late at night when they remember to do it, then they have the appointment app that I use that they can do that at
Very
their
cool.
leisure.
I think a lot of that, what we call it, like self-help stuff has become so much more like, people don't want to call anymore. It's like, I want to see what services you have. I want to be able to book. I want to schedule, and it's like, and then like, oh, please call this. And then it's like, nobody wants to call. Like, or there's a generation that doesn't want to call. Let me put it that way, and it's like,
yeah, it's really going that direction for sure.
There's another generation that's like, can I just call somebody and schedule? I don't want to use 17 different things,
Yes.
Yeah, no, but you guys know who you all are. Okay. I'm not calling anybody out, but you all know who you are. So, one thing I usually always ask this in the beginning, is there a story or a reason for the name behind your company?
So I guess it's kind of transitioned into something. It's called Beauty Beyond Makeup. And when I first registered the business name, the idea wasn't the idea that I have now. It's kind of evolved a little bit. So the original thought process was, looks go beyond the exterior, right? So if somebody is beautiful, they're beautiful from the inside and out. So they're kind, generous, loving person, and that's beautiful. Now, how it has evolved is, really beauty does come from within, because you are what you tell yourself. You are what you eat.
Literally.
And so all that is encompassing beauty.
Okay.
Beauty in the eye of the beholder. So I feel like that's kind of how it started and it's evolved.
Love that. We all have 20/20 hindsight, right? Or most of us. We should have 20/20 hindsight. Is there anything along this 25 years that you would have done differently?
I feel like you were going to ask this. And I was thinking about it the last couple days, and no, I wouldn't, because I feel like everything that has happened in the past has truly led me to where I'm at now. And it continues. I feel like, as long as we listen to our intuition, we will be led the right direction. And so luckily I have listened. And sometimes it took a little bit longer than other times.
Better late than never.
Yes, really. And I thought, gosh, I was one of the oldest people in my aesthetics class, and that was interesting to me. I was self-conscious about it because I'm going, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going back to school. I'm almost 40 years old. And, but I was able to do it, and I learned a lot from the younger girls that were there, but then I also feel like they learned a lot from me, having the experience of working already, being in the field, doing makeup, and I've been able to mentor some people that haven't done it as long or been in the industry as long.
I love that. So then I had a feeling that might have been your answer. So then my question to you is then, what was one of the hardest lessons you learned along the way?
I
I don't know if I set you up for this one.
Yeah, I know. The hardest lesson. Well, okay, I'll tell you what the hardest lesson was. First of all, I feel like the most challenging part of being an entrepreneur, business owner, is then also being a parent and having a balance, right? So I feel like when I worked for a corporation, that was prior to kids. I was able to give 150% because I had nobody else to raise and manage and take care of but myself. I was able to fit in all the things, working out and all this stuff. So the most challenging thing is doing it all and still not losing who I am, getting in a workout and getting in enough water, eating all the right foods, like practicing what I preach. That is, I think, the hardest part of being a business owner is keeping it all balanced, keeping the kids alive, keeping a happy husband, having an organized home, all of it. That is the most challenging part.
And I think I want to double click and underline in bold and italicize something you said in there is don't forget about yourself. It's great to keep the kids alive. It's great to have a happy husband. It's great to, keep the house clean. But at the end of the day, don't lose yourself either, because then you lose sight of why you're doing it. And if you get to that point, and I've been there, I totally crashed and burned one time, running one of my own businesses. And I lost sight of why I was doing it, who I was. Practice what you preach. Oh my gosh, please, louder for those in the back. You don't want that to be, you don't want to resent yourself. And I think a lot of people get caught up in that either they need to be doing, as a new entrepreneur, have to be doing 80, 100-hour weeks, or, at the detriment of their family or themselves. And that's not the case. And I think, I know it's really hard for people with an entrepreneurial mindset to shut that off, but if you don't, you will hit a wall. It's inevitable. And you will either crash and burn, the business will fail, or you'll lose yourself or your family, whatever. Something bad will come of that. And I think out of all the people I've ever talked to on the show and myself, it's that is, if you guys take something away from this podcast today, please. I know we play with a lot of acid today, but
Yes. And, I guess that going hand in hand with what I do, so much of what I talk about is self-care to my clientele. So practicing that for myself, if I haven't been able to do that well, then I'm not the right person to be advocating for others to do it. And so I feel like, daily I need to practice that. Actually, one thing that, another advancement that I had gotten to practice, and again, to help myself and for my clientele. Have you ever heard of Reiki?
Should I have? Am I that disconnected?
No.
Okay.
A lot of people haven't heard of it.
Okay.
And so Reiki is energy movement.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, the first time I heard about it was at the cancer center because it was all like holistic based treating cancer patients. And I remember when I first heard of this term Reiki, they were having the sessions in like a massage room. And so I'm like, what is Reiki? And they're like, oh, it's great. I said, what kind of massage is it? They're like, no, they don't even touch you. And I was like, I don't understand what this concept is.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's so hard to explain. So fast forward so many years, my neighbor's cousin started doing Reiki. And she goes, oh, Bethany did Reiki on me and it was amazing. And I said, what is this? Okay. I remember hearing about it.
Yeah.
I want Reiki done so I can experience this amazingness. So Bethany came in town. I had Reiki done. And I'll tell you again, like it was pretty amazing. It was, we have a lot of stress stored in certain areas of our body.
Oh yeah.
And so it can cause like pain or discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe over time it can cause disease, like cancer. Mm-hmm. So what happens is when you can receive Reiki, the energy kind of moves about that. It unclogs basically. And so when I was practicing aesthetics early on, I would do 3 facials maybe. And I was so exhausted and so drained. And my husband would be like, I don't mean to be mean, but like you're doing facials. Why are you so tired and so depleted? And so anyway, what I found out was because I tend to absorb people's energy, good or bad, a lot of people that were getting facials, and I would assume massage is the same way, that I was just absorbing the stress, the anxiety,
It's a lot to take on.
It was. And so I then decided to get my certification for Reiki to learn how to protect my energy. So I, whatever person's energy is theirs, and then whatever's mine is mine. And so anyway, I became a level II Reiki certified.
There's levels?
Mm-hmm.
How many levels are there?
So 3rd level is master. So then I can then teach others Reiki, but I'm not there yet. I'm not I went to level, not right now.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
That self-actualization is healthy too.
So that learning that and practicing, it's a lot of meditation. So I feel like when I'm able to do that for myself, the meditation, the prayer time, that's the time that the ideas flow, or that's the time that I need to re-energize.
So I think this is a great segue. So this industry, big picture, is changing and always changing, right? And it seems to be changing faster, or there's just more, I should say. Is there any like emerging trends or something that you see that's starting to happen or is happening that either you love and think should be like a broader and like you want to yell it from the rooftops, or the opposite, like people are doing it and maybe shouldn't be, or maybe it's not right for everybody?
Mm-hmm. I feel like the biggest concern I have is for like the younger generation. So I would say maybe, and this is just, on average, ages 10 to like 15-ish.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm. Like they are who these companies market to, because if they can market to you and get you as a customer, you're, rule of thumb is now you're a customer for life.
Essentially, yeah.
And so
Once
they're marketing younger and younger and younger and younger. And you don't understand, at being at such a young age, this is the best your skin will ever be. So you really don't need all of the junk, like the acids. You don't need acids
the science
yet.
Experiments. Okay.
Yes. You want to wash your face. You want to have a good skincare routine. So I have 2 boys. They're 10 and 13. I tell them, just to try to prevent acne, like the best way is preventative, right? So like the best way to prevent aging is to be protected from the sun, because it's the biggest
only
damage.
after 10 to 15 minutes.
Yes. Our time is gone, Eric. Like we're too far gone now.
Oh, there's no point of a return now.
So I think that's the biggest concern, is for the younger generation to really understand that you are being marketed. Like this is their goal, and try not to fall for it, and keep it basic. It's basic skincare now, stuff that you can easily buy at Target or Walgreens. You don't need to be spending a ton of money on products.
On the kind of the flip side of that, then, what's a rule of thumb then when they should start thinking about
amping it up?
Yeah.
So I would say, closer to 20, you can start doing things like an eye cream, something that's more targeted towards hydration. So the biggest component to, I guess the biggest factor is people don't want to age, or they don't want to look older. So you just want to stay hydrated and more plump. And so by doing that, drinking water is a great factor. Eating the right food. So like the other, issue I have is when I see a lot of clients that have acne concerns, the first question I ask is about their diet, because that's the root cause to acne, is the gut. And so whatever you're putting in your body, I'm going to see it, because the skin is the messenger. So I can usually try to pinpoint where it could be stemming from. With acne, if you have acne on the cheeks, that is highly regulated to gut health. If you're doing a lot of sugary drinks or a lot of highly processed things. And so then my follow-up question is, do you get bubble tea or Starbucks drinks or Dunkin' Donut?
Grams of sugar and 2,000 calorie, Starbucks drink,
So that, that's typically, and then the answer is usually yes. And so again, because we have so many battles to fight, and especially that age group too, like it's harder now to be a teenager than it was for us to be a teenager. Like it was still hard, but not as hard as these kids have it with so much input. And so you got to pick and choose those battles. And if skin is a battle you want to fight, then really minimize those kinds of drinks and foods with high sugar content, because it's very inflammatory to the system.
Well, and I feel like we could spend a whole episode on food, because I think it is so easy for food companies to be misleading on what's healthy too. Mm-hmm. Like, that is one thing, for the years I'm a relatively healthy eater, but once you start reading packaging and
scary,
it's not healthy, or they say healthier. I'm like, yeah, but it's two devils you're comparing. It's not healthy. It's just healthier. Like the big one I always, fight people on is, the fake meat stuff. Like, the Impossible meat, the Impossible burger, stuff like that. It's a meat substitute. It's not a healthy substitute. And actually, if you want to compare side by side, those substitutes are actually worse for you. They're usually extremely high in sodium and preservatives, and they're just great. You're not eating a cow. You're just eating a whole ton of salt flavored to taste like a cow now. But so, I think there's a ton of education needed on label reading, alone. We talk about the things in school that, credit checks and what, and banking and all this. I'm like, how about just reading a food label? Because my God, it is, understanding serving sizes, and I think portion control too is a whole nother conversation. But anyway, I'm going to get off that soapbox.
No,
really
I have two points to make that you sprung a couple ideas while you were talking. Was number one, the food and marketing, all natural, it's all marketing. So because my undergrad is business management, and I was a product manager at the medical supply company. So I saw about $80 million of commodity products is what I managed. And it was a lot of my job was to figure out packaging and how to market the product to sell, right? And so I understand the marketing component so much more than I feel like, maybe some other people don't understand. But then now fast forward in the beauty industry, the same rules apply. They're trying to hook you. And so by packaging, if something's super colorful or if something's very pretty, and so number one, you're paying, all of that money is going towards packaging. So, it's so hard to tell you, what ingredients, because there's so many different ingredients that could be good or harmful. If something says chemical free, it's a lie. Okay. Because everything is a chemical. The air that we breathe, the water that we drink, they're all chemicals, but they're non-harmful to some point, right?
Well, that's another one too. Yeah. But anyway.
But there's going to be, now when you're looking at a skincare product, and same for food, you want to turn it around and look at the ingredients. The top 5 ingredients on skincare or food is going to be the most concentrated ingredients. So if somebody's trying to market and say, this product has hyaluronic acid in it, or it's got retinol, and you're going, great, okay, turn it around. If it's on the bottom of the list of 18, ingredients, then there's less than 1% in there. The most concentration are the first 5 ingredients. So again, like if you're looking at a food item, you're trying to decide if it's healthy or not for you. And the first couple ingredients is like corn syrup or like, other fillers that are not healthy, then choose something else.
Or when, 95% of them are words you can't even pronounce.
Right.
They're like, it looks like a science experiment on there.
And you're going, what does that do? Well, it's usually some kind of binder, preservative, and it's not necessary.
Fillers, stuff like that. But we could talk food all day. Now I'm hungry, but I shouldn't be. Speaking of hunger, so Rosie brought me this awesome little gift bag, and we've got all kinds of stuff in here. Can you actually, I'll let you, because you can talk about this stuff way better. What do we got in this bag?
Okay, so some of the samples I brought for you today. One is it's called Re-Up Smoothie. It's a smoothie company that I've partnered with. They're out in Colorado. And so this is the one flavor that they have right now. They have 2 more coming out at the end of the year. It's called apple pie. And it's a healthy alternative to a snack. Okay. So it's not a meal supplement. What is this? So it's a 3.5 ounce pouch. It looks like a pouch that your kids would have, like those apple squeeze pouches. Okay. So it travels well. It's portable. You don't have to refrigerate it. You can keep it at room temperature. But it's got, the only ingredients in this is apple, sweet potato, banana, almond butter, collagen, and lion's mane.
I love lion's mane. I've gotten
you do? So you've tried it.
Oh, I've gotten really deep in the recent months into lion's mane.
Okay.
But
so lion's mane.
I'll let you do it. You're the expert.
It's one of the only foods that you can get vitamin D from. So lion's mane is a mushroom, and mushrooms, you can get vitamin D from mushrooms and some fish. Otherwise, you can only get vitamin D from the sun. So this has vitamin D in it. It's all good stuff. It's good for the skin because it's got protein in there. So it's going to help keep you satisfied longer. And then the 10 grams of collagen, which is good for plumping, helping the skin plump too. So there's that. And then I also brought you some samples of skincare too from
She's
Vanny
trying to tell
Cream.
me something.
My
skin.
Well, this is very gentle. So these are products that I would recommend to anyone. And again, so Vanny Cream
That's the brand.
is the name of it. Yep,
Okay.
This is the brand. And this is something that, again, you can buy anywhere at like a Walgreens or a Target, a Walmart. And there's no fake dyes or fragrances in there. So it's non-irritating to the skin. It's good for somebody who does have sensitive skin. So I have those samples at home. So if anyone's ever looking for anything, I have that.
We've got a facial cleanser. Let's see, a moisturizing cream.
Yeah, and a body
wash. Okay.
Those are for you to try.
My skin's going to be like awesome. I'm going to look like 25, right? And reverse my...
Yes.
That's not going to happen.
After you drink all that water.
And this re-up, the one thing I always like, there is no added sugar, which is like huge. Like these, because I look at some of these ones that like we were talking about the kids, like applesauce, one of this, and they add like more sugar than like a can of soda in some of these. It's
I know.
Unreal.
It is unreal. And then we think as parents, because there's so many battles to fight, we're going, oh, it's applesauce. It's healthy. Here you go. And you just don't. So again, like pick and choose the battles.
Yeah.
The sugar, the sweetener in there is organic maple syrup. So it is a great sweetener. Like even if you have organic maple syrup at home, you want to add that to yogurt as a sweetener. It's a great option. But I do sell these at home. I can ship them as well. You can also find it on Amazon. You will get it from me cheaper.
Hey, this show is all about supporting small and shopping local. So we don't talk about the big monster we call Amazon, despite that we sometimes need it. And I don't know where else to buy some of these things, but that's a whole nother conversation. So we are over an hour. I told you this time was going to fly by.
I can't believe it.
I still have one more question I definitely always ask. So if someone was looking to get in this industry or starting their own business, what's one piece of advice you would want to give them?
I would say when you're looking for a school to choose, to tour the school and talk to people, like not just the director that's trying to sign you on, but the teachers as well, and just make sure that they go in line with what it is that you're there for. And then to also make sure that you're doing it, like we are in the service industry. So make sure you're doing it to service others and not for the money. Because if you're going in it for the money, the money's not there, and it's definitely not there in the beginning. It can be there when you've built your clientele and a brand for yourself, but don't go into the industry thinking, oh, it's a booming industry, because it is, but you're going to get lost in, in the industry, because it's very saturated. There's a lot of people out there.
There is. There's a lot of misinformation sometimes too. And I mean that in all industries, but, very cool. This show's all about you this episode. So don't be modest. Plugs. Like, do we have website? How do we get a hold of you?
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram or Facebook. The Instagram handle is beautybeyondmakeup.1, because I don't know who has the other. And then Facebook, Beauty Beyond Makeup. And then you can also, I have a website where you can get lots of resources. So any content that I create, I put onto my website, because I want people to feel empowered and to have a source that they can go to that's not Google to find information. So that website is beautybeyondmakeup.com.
Beautiful. No pun intended there. And also, guys, as always, when this goes live, we'll post all the links and everything. So super easy to find for you guys. Anything we didn't talk about that you wanted to talk about?
So much. So you're just going to have to invite me back.
All right. You got to give us at least one thing. What was something you were hoping to talk about?
I feel like we can definitely talk more about gut health.
Gut health? Mm-hmm. All right. Give me the spiel on gut health. Talk to me about gut health. Give me something.
Oh, we're going to make this a really long episode. Okay. So basics of gut health, try to minimize inflammatory items. That it's really hard right now because everything is high in sugar and highly processed because it's quick, it's fast. And so, minimize sugar when you can. Make sure you're doing a lot of breathing exercises because that all affects the digestive system. Taking a probiotic I tend to suggest that often to people.
Like a vitamin version of a probiotic?
Yeah. So in a supplement form, like a pill form, or, they do have kombucha, right? That's like a big thing right now too. So you can do kombucha.
So gross though.
I know.
I tried so hard.
There's some that are better than others, but
so like sour, bittery. I don't know.
Trust me, I'd rather take a supplement that I can swallow and get my probiotics. But kombucha, like something fermented, like sauerkraut that has fermentation in it, like that just helps with the good and bad bacteria balance in the stomach. So if something's going on, or like during, we're approaching the fall, which is crazy to me, when viruses start to go up and germs start to go up, protect yourself early on as much as you can. Do your probiotics now before school starts.
It's too late by that time.
Yeah. Amp up your immunity. I mean, we can even talk about the skin and immune system for another time too. But anyway.
Does yogurt count as probiotic?
Yes, but not all yogurt's created equal. So
there's
some yogurt, probably the ones that don't have any sugar or flavoring to it tend to be the better probiotic. So you will see on the back, it will have names that you may not be able to pronounce, but that is like lactobacillus, which is different germs, but good germs that our gut needs. So you can do a yogurt too.
Because I love yogurt.
Okay, good.
But we're very good at like reading what kind of yogurts we're eating. Because again, there's a ton out there with a ton of sugar in them. Oh my God.
It's crap. I know.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And if it comes in like a smoothie yogurty version, they're like even worse. It's and it's like, but they're so easy.
Well, and this is what we're feeding our kids. And that's where it's, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, just mental health too is very related to the gut. So.
Well, Rosie, we are well over an hour. It has been fantastic. We could talk all day about this stuff. We'll have to have you back on. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
And to our listeners, thank you as always. Support local, shop local. Rosie can take care of a lot. This re-up stuff, I can't wait to try this. She's got all kinds of things. Reach out to her social media, website. We've got it all for you guys. And until next time, goodbye for now. Big Dreams. Thank you for joining us. Please support us and these incredible small businesses by sharing this podcast with friends, family, and on your social networks. Spreading the word not just helps us grow, but more importantly supports the dreams of our local entrepreneurs. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. But if you have a small business we should hear about, reach out to us on social media or our website. We'd love to hear from you. Until next week, I'm your host, Eric Bolt. Keep supporting small businesses, and goodbye for now.